everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. If you're watching this the day that it posts, then it is Wednesday, June 21st, I think. Whatever the Wednesday is that it is, I meant to look. And on my phone is being my camera. But it's free shipping day. If you're in the US, it's on orders over $75. If you're in the other markets, you'll have to check with a demonstrator in your country. And the paper is on sale because it's June. And I have some bonus offers. So make sure you head over to my website and check out there the bonus offers that I'm offering. If you're not watching this and it's free shipping, the bonus offers that I have for bonus days go through the 25th of June. So I know it's not the 25th. And you can redeem those. And if you've already purchased from me in June, I always add all of whatever you spend in a month up before I send my thank you gift. So head there, check that out, make sure you don't miss anything. I'm still trying to get through all of the papers to show you this month while they are on sale. The designer series paper that's not specialty paper is on sale till the end of the month, 15% off. So today we're obviously looking at the Let's Go Fishing Suite. I know it seems like it's an obvious Father's Day thing, but there's other sentiments in it. I did use it for my Father's Day card, but I'm going to show you the other sentiments that you can use year round. And obviously it doesn't have a birthday in it, but you could easily make a birthday card with it. I do want to let you know that the dies are on back order at the moment, but you can still get the stamps. You can get the folder. You can get the paper while it's on sale and on free shipping date if you want, and then just get the dies. Right now they're saying they're back in on July 3rd. So if you want me to let you know when they're back in, then just shoot me an email and I will try to let you remember. So here's the suite. I'm going to show you a couple of cards. You're going to get to see something you don't often get to see on my in my videos. This one is one that I got on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip to Norway. So it was a swap from somebody. You can see they've used 2 pieces of the paper. The paper's fun, and it's one of the papers that you don't have to have the bundle. You can easily make cards without it. This one has the dies, the stamps, and the paper. I haven't used the one that does always check to see if they're a fun fold. I haven't used the one that makes the water shape yet. Then this one is one that I did each month when you purchase from me. You can qualify to get in on my VIP projects. The VIP projects are something like this. They're usually centered around a paper, often a fun fold, but not always. And then I send you the projects and then you get the personal videos. So there's 1, 2, or 3. You spend anything, you get to see the videos, and then it depends on all the packets that you get depending on what you spent. This is one of the ones that we did for thank yous for May, and they went out this month. This one is the project that we did in my Try It class, which I do those every time there's a new catalog out. So you can do that. Don't ask for these videos or the templates because they are part of classes. And you guys always pick the things that I can't share with you when you ask. Then this is a fun card. It has the piece of paper that is right here. And they've used it with the Let's Go Chuck, I think it's called, suite. I think those dies are either on low inventory or on back order, but that's a really fun fold card there. And that is the fish paper, not used with a chicken instead of a fish. I guess it's a rooster. So I'm going to make a Tacklebox card. Now I want to tell you that I don't fly fish. I don't even really like to fish. I can fish, but I get bored and I don't like to be quiet. And I most certainly don't like worms. So the lures, though, are maybe something. So when I started to make this card, we did it at my in-person camp, I had to look at this card right here. And so this is kind of where I based it. Don't ever feel bad if you have to look at something else or you have to look at the catalog, because I don't know that I would have quite understood what all the pieces were without looking. This card right here is super cute. There's a folder that goes with this suite. I really like the way they did the little lure. So you can see you get fish in this, you get lures in this, and then in the paper you get both as well. You don't get any bobbers, I don't think, in the paper. I do know what a bobber is. So let's get going on the card. So you have lots of little pieces that you're gonna need, and I have a few other little pieces that I'm gonna use simply because I want to be able to show you the paper. I have 2 pieces of vanilla, and you're going to need both of these, and it takes a 1/4 sheet. So you have a 1/2 sheet just in your tackle box. But first, let's do our stamping. I have extra sheet pieces here too because I have all the spare from camp. I'm not quite sure how much of this I'll need. So let's just start, and we'll just start stamping. So let's start here with the bobber. And I didn't pick very many colors. I kind of went with the colors that was in the paper. So here's your bobber. And then you can color that in, or I'm going to use Poppy Parade and use the stamp for a 2-step stamp. And it's super simple. You just ink the other half. You can see the card that I filmed just prior to this one. I thought I wiped everything off the table, but I did not do a good job. And then this just goes in the other half, and then super simple, you have a colored in bobber. So that's that one. Then we have this little piece here. So the set comes with tons of dies. And so when I first made this card, I got all the dies out, and I assumed that everything had a die because there were so many dies, and I couldn't find the die for this. It doesn't have one. So of all the pieces that are included in the set, that one you'll just have to hand trim. It's super easy to hand trim out. It's just, I just thought it was a little bit weird that there was not a die for it. Now I'm going to use Poppy for this. And add that there. So I have those 3 things in the Poppy, and then I'm done with that. Then I haven't done this one, so I did this one. I'm just going to keep looking at the card I already did. I did wash the stamps though, so if I don't use the exact same thing. This is one of my new favorite colors. The Lost Lagoon and Pebbled Path, my 2 favorite colors. Pebbled Path is like gray granite. And it has a tinge of gray, a tinge of brown. It's a really pretty color. It dries lighter than that. So we have that. Then let's get the inside of this lure here. It's a little bit like the bobber. You just ink that part up. I'm going to have to move it closer to me. And now you have a filled in bobber. Then let's do Cajun Craze. And this, you can just pick whichever kind of, if you're giving this to a certain person for retirement or some kind of card, you can pick colors that they like. So there's Cajun Craze. And then I'm going to use Misty Moonlight. There's going to be some more stamping that we do after we cut stuff out, but for now we'll stamp this and then we'll come back and get it. So there's that one. So I think that's all the stamping that needs to go through the die cut machine. All right, so let's do these dies. I'm going to show them to you real quick because there's some other pieces. So let's get the other pieces first. I have a piece of wild wheat. You could use Pebbled Path. I guess I'll do it this way. Then I have a piece of gold foil. I can't remember how many things are out of gold. That's probably overkill. It's the scrap left from camp. And then a piece of Poppy Parade. I think that's all the ones. So let's start. Here's a tip. I'll go ahead and lay these on here, but I'm not going to line these up until I have everything on here. For one, they might not all fit, depending on how close I got things. Although, is this one going to fit? No. So we'll just do 2 passes. You never want to make them too close. Which if I'm going to do 2 passes, then I'll do that one on the second pass as well. So then there's a little thing of, I'm not sure, those look like those little weight things. You know what I mean? I'm not 100% sure what they are, but they're cute. And then we have a gold stick. And then here is a lure. I'm going to do it on the wild wheat. Here is a bobber. Here is the top, or the other color of the bobber. And then here is, so it's way too much gold, some hooks. So I've done the little pieces. Now let's do these big pieces. So I told you this one takes a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. The other one could be a little bit smaller, but if you've already cut a 1/4, then you're gonna have 2 quarters. So you can see it just goes on here. So it's gonna round your corners and it's gonna give you a nice background. This does not have to be a tackle box. If you have these dies anytime, this would be really nice with a piece of pattern of the Designer Series paper to cut your backgrounds like this. But anytime that you want just rounded corners, then this die is real quick to reach for. I have a place where I keep my most used dies, and I think I'll move this to that section because this is just a shape. I should have shown you the teeny tiny offcut that you get from it. So Tacklebox or just rounded rectangle. Then this one here is the guts of the Tacklebox, but you're gonna love what it does. So it doesn't take quite a quarter sheet, but like I said, if you've cut that and you have a quarter sheet left, you might as well just do it this way. So just run this through, it cuts really nicely. You just need one cut. It does make lots of noise. You can angle it a little bit left. I thought that was not enough speed bump, but pretty speed bumpy. Now look at this one, and we'll talk about it in a second. So you get the guts of the Tacklebox, right? But look, you also get these. So these are great rectangles, and just move them over to your, when you need a sentiment. You know what these are good for? When you accidentally stamp the inside of your card and you make it crooked, just re-stamp it on one of these little guys and then just glue it over the top and fix your mistake. Because again, they're lovely, lovely rounded cornered rectangles. Then we have the actual, there's the scrap. We have the actual Tacklebox, which is here. But again, you could make it easy, a picture frame. Just take your scissors, and I'll do a card with one of these and just trim those off. And then you just have a nice like shadow box that you can use for your designs. Now, I thought about using, if you watched my video the other day on alternate adhesives, I thought about using it with this because the adhesive sheets would be a good option, but I used the fine tip glue the other day and it worked fine. The fine tip glue was fine. So I decided to just do it that way. Because I'm trying to get a lot done today, and thinking isn't one of the things on my plan. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this straight on my card so everything is here as we're working. So just center this on here. You'll see in the catalog that they did mount this on a piece of Designer Series paper. I decided there was so little of it that showed it wasn't worth it for me to use the whole piece. Then I'm just gonna lay this on here, and then I will glue it on at the end. At camp, they did it the other way. They glued it on first, so I don't think it really matters. I'm gonna do a little bit more stamping. There is this fun, kind of like shadowy thing. So I'm gonna stamp one in each corner, or each rectangle. And these, I'm just gonna let them get lighter. I have a little bit of hot air on that one. So you can see it just gets lighter. And then on these two over here, you can stamp off or not. It doesn't really matter. It's just adding some back to the insides of your squares. It doesn't matter, like if this thing moves, it doesn't matter where they are. They're just on there. So we have that. Then at camp and for Father's Day and stuff, obviously you can put the Happy Father's Day here. I'm gonna change this one to a retirement card. My dad had big dreams when he retired that he was gonna spend all his time fishing. But he went back to work because he works at a golf course and he likes that too. I think there are days when he doesn't want to go to work because everybody's like that. So I'm just gonna stick the Happy Retirement in here. Again, it doesn't matter exactly where this is. I'm gonna move it. That way I can get this straight. And that little blop kind of tells me where it needs to be. So we have the Happy Retirement. And then for the inside of this card, just so you can see the Designer Series paper, I have these two pieces here. So there's flies on this one. I could use it that way, but I kind of like them this way. So let's just add our adhesive. And you're probably thinking, why are you sticking paper like this? A lot of times we just have these scraps, right? I mean, I could build a house out of the scraps of Designer Series paper that I end up with. So you might as well use them. You might as well make them pretty, but it's a little bit hard to stamp on this. So I also have this piece of scrap from the Magnificently Made card I did the other day. And I'm just going to take the sentiment that can be inside a retirement card. And it says, good things come to those who wait. Stamp it in here and use the blue. You could use black if you want, but blue is what I still have open. Now you can see that this is wet because it takes a while for this to dry on vellum. So I'm just going to put it here, and then I'll try to remember at the end to stick that back in here. So let's go back over to this now. That's all of the stamping. So now we're going to start gluing. I said I was going to use the fine tip glue because of the fine tip, and you'll see that we have a lot of things on here that are little. And it doesn't need glue everywhere. Just put some on some of it, and that will be enough to hold it down. But you could do this with a cooking set. You could do it with flowers. You could make any kind of little shadow box with one of the book sets that we've had in the past. Stick that on there. And there's your Tacklebox. Easy peasy, right? You could also put the foam adhesive sheets. It would be a lot of waste, except for the fact that then all of these would also be foamy. So it's up to you. Let's start. We'll just go square by square from what I did the first time. You don't have to use glue on all this either. You can use adhesive on just seal on some of these. But since I've got it open, that's what I'm going to use. Put those there. And then I have some of just our regular old thread that comes on its own. Just going to cut about that much. Then I want to glue it here. I find it easier to just put your glue on. And then I'm going to let this coil kind of back around the way it was on the thing. Pop this in there. So now that's there. Let's grab this one. And then when this is over the top of it, it will help sandwich all that down. So you don't have to worry about whether or not that's going to stick. It's going to stick. Then we had this little guy here. I didn't take any of these out of the dies. You can see why the fine tip glue is a good option for this. You can use the liquid glue as well, the green glue. It's just super sticky. It does dry clear, but it's really sticky, and it doesn't come out quite as fine as the fine tip. Put that there. Then let's go over to this one. So on this one, you can see I'm going to put my glue here, and there's a reason for it. So I left the top of it glue free. Then we have this piece here. It's the one that doesn't have a die. Weird to me. It is easy to cut out, but don't feel like I did and be panic stricken that as soon as you've opened your dies, you've lost one, because it just doesn't have one. Okay, and again, I'm going to put the adhesive down here at the bottom and leave that top bit, because see, now I can slide this under here, and then we're going to add something else to that, and then we'll glue it all down. Now we have this last one up here, and you're going to build your bobber kind of on it. So here's our gold piece, and these are nice large squares, so I'm just doing it however they fall is where they stay. This one does need to be straight. The next one needs to be straight too, but that's where it goes. You just want to make sure it's kind of straight on here. That looks good. Then we have the little poppy half. And then this one, just kind of hold on to that and drop that on there. See, super easy. Don't make it harder than what it is, because it's not hard. Now we're going to take our little gold hooks. Now you can see why the fine tip glue again is a good option. I'm just adding them places where it's nice to have the accent. You could cut more of the hooks if you want. You could do them out of silver if you want. do them out of the hologram paper. Up to you. That one there. Then we have these little things that I think are the weights, but I'm not sure. There's only 2 on my original card because my pad was open and I dropped it, oops, on the, kind of like that. This glue dries clear though, right? Put it here. Again, wherever they fall, I'm not worried. I have this laying here for a reason, might as well use it. So you can use the sticky tip. One of these fell just like that on my Pebbled Path pad and it was ruined. So I just went with 2 on my original card. I'll put that one there. See if we can make it on this one to not drop it. It's a fiddly card, but it's not so fiddly that you can't do it. Since I don't have one on my other card, now I have to think about where I might want to put this. We'll just put it here. Now I'm going to take, oh, my big one's not laying here. This'll work. Lay that on there. It just takes a second. I'm going to take 2 pieces of this, and they don't need to be long because you know those little rectangles are small. But this, when you put it next to those teensy tiny things, it looks way bigger than it is. So just take it and untwist it. See how easy it untwists? And then it's also easier when you have a small length to do it that way, to pull it apart. So now we have 3 little pieces. And if you want, you can even untwist these if you want them even finer. So grab this one. You want it long enough that you can work with because you can easily trim it at the end. If you make it too short while you're working with it, then it just makes it difficult to work with. So I'm going to hold those together and tie a knot at the top. You can tie the knot afterwards if you want to, but then the top will be still stuck together. So now we have much more to scale of this, and then I'll do the other one. All right, so both of these are done. I'm just gonna trim the tops first because I know I don't want them that long, and then we'll probably have to trim them a little bit now. So it's just sat there while I tied those 2 things. Didn't take long at all. I want to put one of my strings here, and you could do it in the opposite order. You don't have to do these. Do it this way. You could put your string on and then add the things over the top. This is just the way I did it the first time, and it worked. Because sometimes when you're designing a card, it's best to not stick too much glue on or adhesive until you really know what your card's going to look like. Because a lot of times we just don't know. So now this is here. Let's grab this, leave that there. And then I did the same thing up here, except this one can kind of go just to the side because I don't even know on a real fishing thing where they go. So I'm going for art. I mean, obviously this is not a full anything, right? So this one had the nicer knot. That's how I decided to put this one here. And actually the length isn't too bad on either of them. So put that there. I've got a little bit of glue on my, and then I'm gonna add a little bit more glue here. Now these things I thought kind of got lost on there. I feel like if they're I should have asked somebody, if you know what they are, then tell me. I feel like I have not fished in a long time. I used to fish with my grandpa all the time, and he's been gone since I lived in Australia. So he's been gone for a long time. But I feel like they're those little silver weights. But I just wanted to have a little bit of highlight, but I don't want too much. I don't want them then to be like, oh, that's obvious, because they're just on here for a little highlight. So I'm taking my blender pen, and this has been stamped now for how long? It's been a minute since we did it, but you can always just pull a tiny bit of ink. In fact, it's easier when you want a really light ink to use a dried one. So now they just have that little stripe of color. Maybe they're a tiny bobbers. I don't know. If they're a tiny bobber, then this is perfect. Now I'm going to take my thing over here, and I'm just going to kind of fill in So that's not all the way white, to make it look a little bit different than the thing behind it. And then I'll just add a little bit of poppy there. Just a tiny, tiny bit, just what was left on my thing. Now, obviously, I think this is probably going to go to a man in my life. Not that I have one in mind of who's going to get it, but sometimes when you're using embellishments, it's hard. But these little things made me remember the little weights, you know, that pull it down. So you could use silver if you, well, should I use silver on this one? I used gold on the other one. Sometimes I like to give you guys the option. Where is my silver? We're going to try silver on this one. Then you can see the silver and the gold. I mean, you can mix metals. So this is a nice option to use when you don't want to use embellishments, because it still adds that little bit of fun smudgy for us girls, but doesn't make it any kind of feminine or fancy card. So, and the nice thing with this is you can control the size. I think the silver will make the pebbled path, which most people would say is a brown. It has the tinge of brown, but I think that when you put silver with it, it will, the back of this card is going to have a little bit more towards the silver. Okay, now I know some of you were worried because you thought I didn't have enough glue to hold this whole thing down. Well, we can just add one of those to the top. And then I just added some in every rectangle. And here on the top of this, we'll hold that on with one. And I know if you can see it, I don't know if you can see it on the video, when you pull up on it, it does the Dairy Queen thing. But as they sit here, they round off. There's so many ways to use these. I did a retreat on them. I'm going to have to go back and look at all the ways that we used them on the retreat. It was when we just had the ones that were black, red, and white. So here's this. Now, it's beautiful just like this. I just felt like there's no Tacklebox that is this clean. So I just took my Pebbled Path blender pen. This is the light. And we just take this and we're just going to give it a little bit of dirt. Because seriously, who's ever seen a sparkling white Tacklebox? Now let's see if I should have done this before I did that. You can see this is dry now. And there's been not much. I may have fast forwarded doing the ribbon. Just put a little bit here. You do want to make sure you do it on a piece of scrap paper because see, well, you probably can't see, a little bit of the ink still came off. But that's okay. I want you to see what it looks like on the inside here. So I'm just going to do it really careful. So now we have that fun designer series paper and we just made the inside of our card pretty. You don't have to worry about the stuff showing through if your adhesive if you do it just behind there. So here it is in silver and a happy retirement. And then you can pull it back out next year and do your happy Father's Day. And here is the gold. There's also the copper. I wouldn't want the copper on this card. But I do think that this silver looks really nice with the Pebbled Path. And you can do it. The Pebbled Path is one of the colors in the designer series paper. So there you go. I know the dies. There's not very many dies on back order. They're just the ones that go with the paper because when the new catalog comes out, it's easier for us demonstrators to buy stuff in a suite. So we suck it all up, I think, at the beginning. But there are more coming in July 3rd. And at this point, we're past Father's Day. So you weren't going to make it for that anyway. So you'll still have them in time for all of your summer cards. But remember, today is free shipping if you're watching the day this posts. And I'll catch you back here in a few days. Bye.